You're watching news at Prime. Let's bring you this now. Residents of Montrose have expressed their anger and frustration with the allocation of government-subsidised housing in the Dan Tloome or Tloome area. Some claim they've been waiting for as long as 2 decades to be given permission to move into the houses that were built between 2017 and 2021. Hundreds of standalone and flatlet complex buildings stand vacant with no electricity and water services. Newzroom Afrika's Katleho Sekhotho joining us in studio for that update. Katleho, good evening to you. Let's start with why it is that these properties stand vacant, because the next point we're going to be talking about in the not too distant future are vagrants moving into those properties.
Absolutely. So, Koli, the issue here is that it started a few years back when Montrose had a housing project and Dan Tloome has its own housing project. The residents who live in Montrose were then, that housing project collapsed for some or other reason. The Human Settlements Department in Gauteng doesn't go into the details as to why that project collapsed, but they are saying that they will look to resuscitate that project. Then those residents who did not receive the housing in Montrose were told that they would be moved to Dan Tloome. And they say they see the houses there in Dan Tloome vacant and unoccupied and ask themselves, why can't we be moved into these houses? So the department saying, we cannot move you there because that project in Dan Tloome has its own beneficiaries. So it's a tug-of-war between the residents of Montrose and the Human Settlements Department in Gauteng as to where exactly they should be allocated. And many, as you note, they have been fighting for years to have houses. These are government-subsidised housing, meaning you get the house and then you pay, your water and your electricity bills. But even though some of them have that certificate that says, I have a house, they don't actually know where that house will be, in Montrose or in Dan Tloome. But it can't be Montrose because that housing project has collapsed.
Yeah.
So it really is an issue.
Let's talk about the officials. This is a government-led project, as I understand it. Surely there's got to be concern from the authorities about those properties standing vacant, but also at the same time, it's as if they are pitting the residents of one area against the other, because the ones where there are houses ready to be moved into are going to say, but how would you bring people coming from a different area? That's a recipe for conflict.
Absolutely. And that's the issue here. And this is what residents are saying, that we as Montrose are not too far away. We're in Randfontein. Dan Tloome has these standing vacant houses. Place us there. So it's also a different, it's also multi-pronged, this problem, in that you have standalone houses which don't have electricity and water, but residents saying that they're willing to move in there as long as they have that property. Then you have complex flatlets, which are obviously, there's floors there and also no water and electricity, and it's unsafer to stay in those places. So they're saying, move us in anyway. But certainly the, Human Settlements Department saying that project is not complete and that, the basic services are not available there. So we can't place you there until those are ready. But even then, those houses have their own beneficiaries. So certainly what residents are looking for from the Human Settlements Department is, we applied for housing, we have been approved, where are our houses, essentially?
And final question on this, Katleho. There will always be, and it's sad because it's almost a fact of life in South Africa, that there will be someone who's trying to benefit, corruptly so, out of another person's misery. I listened to the story earlier, and I thought there was some suggestion that there are people who are being asked for bribes.
Absolutely. So that's one of the claims made by the residents of Montrose, saying that they even are asked whether you can pay 5,000 rand, 10,000, 15,000, 30,000. They say officials from the department. When the department is asked about the claims of corruption or bribery, the department says, well, residents say so, but they never actually go to the police station and open a case. So there isn't a proper case in which they can investigate. Furthermore, the department has clarified that they have conducted their own investigations, and there have been people who've been dismissed or who've been found wanting and they've been dealt with. And there are cases in which people played as if they were officials from the department, but they were not. But certainly as it stands now, officials saying they don't have a proper case from residents which says which officials and what are the details there.
Katleho, Sekhotho, thank you very much for that update. It's an emotive story, the issue of housing, because everyone wants a roof over their heads. But then it makes the blood boil when officials, we'll say officials in inverted commas here because it's not proven whether indeed it is officials from the housing department or human settlements department that are sort of trying to elicit bribes out of this situation. Thank you very much for the time being. Katleho, Sekhotho, our reporter, looking at that story for us.